Thank you, David. Good morning and welcome to the Unity of the Palm Beaches virtual Sunday celebration service. My name is Diane Bruce. I'm executive director here, and it is my pleasure to welcome you to this experience and to sincerely thank you for choosing to be a part of this collective contribution. And now Reverend Taylor will lead us in our opening prayer.
Thank you, Diane. Thank you, David. Thank you for that beautiful music. And thank you for joining us, for choosing to be a part of this virtual celebration service. We are so grateful to be together in this platform, though we are not together physically. I guess I don't have to remind you of that. Month after month now, yet we have this ability to be together virtually in consciousness. And so breathe with me if you choose. Really allowing yourself to feel this moment, feel this virtual connection. As you breathe into your heart, and as you feel fully the moment, recognize it as an opportunity. By joining here together as a spiritual community dedicated to co-creating a world that works for all, a world that works for all. That is our engaged spirituality. That is why we join together. That is the power of shared consciousness. We know that power now. We know that by choosing to be here, to be together, our entire world is uplifted. We celebrate that. We celebrate that. We spend this time aware, present, conscious. We are so grateful, and so it is. Amen.
Today's daily word is now. I find my power in this very moment. There is power in this very moment. Yesterday is past, and tomorrow is not yet here. There is only this moment, ripe with promise and potential, ready for me to live into it fully. Through my many divine gifts, everything I need to get started is within me. I need not wait for the perfect moment to arrive, because there is no time more perfect than now, and no place more perfect than here. Procrastination has no place in my life. I fritter away my energy when I find reasons not to get started, losing my zeal and focus and inviting frustration into my life. Today, I claim the power of the present and say, this is the day I begin. Now is the time to begin, to serve, to forgive, to create, and to love. And from Corinthians, see, now is the acceptable time. See, now is the day of salvation. And now David and Trish will lead us in meditation.
When I pray, I feel my heart go deeper, my heart go deeper into my God. When I pray, I feel my heart go deeper, my heart go deeper into my God. Right here, right now, right where I am, I pray. Right here, right now, right where I am, I pray.
Right here, right now. Right where I am. I pray. Breathe into that with me if you will, if you choose. Right here. Right now. Right where I am. I pray. As our daily word invites us, now. We choose to be here. Now. Here. Now. Pray. From the vantage point of this moment. From the vantage point of the I am. We breathe and we come into alignment. With the vibrational essence that is here. Now. That is prayer. Allowing each moment, each breath to bring you more fully into the direct experience of here. Now. Prayer. We watch the thinking. We feel the aliveness. We are fully here. Now. In prayer. letting go the words. We allow stillness to be here. Now, stillness as prayer. Be still. Here. Now. Even as we bring back the intentional sounds and words and ideas, we continue to feel the context of here, now, prayer. We are grateful, and so it is. Amen.
Hallelujah. 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 If we all sing one song of love, one song of peace, one song to make all our troubles cease. One hymn, one theme, one hope, one dream. Imagine what tomorrow would bring if we all sing one song. If we all learn the words, just think how great the sound would be. And since the song is in freedom's key, one voice you'd hear, so pure, so clear. Imagine what tomorrow would bring if we all sing one song. There's just one sun that warms our day, the same moon and stars light our way. This little ball whirling in space, it's our only home, our only place. If we all sing one song of love, one song of peace, one song to make our troubles cease. Imagine what tomorrow would bring. Imagine what tomorrow would bring. Oh, just imagine what tomorrow would bring if we all sing one song.
Thank you, David. Thank you, Trish. You do that beautifully, beautifully, beautifully. So that song really takes me back to the beginning of this Unity adventure. That song is called One Song. There was a Sunday early in my time at Unity of New York, which my home Unity, led by the great late Eric Butterworth. I feel like as I look back, I was a completely different person then. And for me, it's a testament to these teachings and what can happen in an individual life. There was a Sunday that, it wasn't the only time, there were several occasions where, of course, we met in Lincoln Center. Many of you, or probably most of you, are familiar with Lincoln Center in New York City. And our church was Philharmonic Hall, Avery Fisher Hall. And there was a Sunday that, again, of many, I came in and they handed us programs. And this particular Sunday, it said that there would be a guest pianist. It didn't say who, it just simply said guest pianist. And I was like, I really love Paul Trueblood. The late Paul Trueblood was the piano player at the time, and I just loved him. And so I thought, oh man. So I spent a lot of time living there 30 some years ago. Oh man, I visit now, but then I hung art. I was like living there. So I was like, oh. So gets ready. It's about time for the service to start, and out comes the guest pianist. And I look, and I look again, and I'm like, wait, that. So our guest pianist that Sunday was Marvin Hamlish. So Marvin Hamlish was playing for and this wasn't the only time. This happened several times during the time that I was at Unity of New York. But Marvin Hamlish played for the entire service. And then when it came time for the solo right before the lecture, he introduced the song, didn't sing the song, but he introduced this song that Trish just shared with us called One Song. And the rendition of it was magnificent, but the song so captivated me. The lyric and the beauty of the melody, it just felt to me like it was the perfect song at the time, 33 years ago or something like that. He had just written it and was very proud of this song and wanted to share it first with Unity of New York and with his friend, Eric Butterworth. They lived very close to each other in Greenwich, Connecticut. And so I always felt that this song would just take the world by storm. Because what better anthem could there be than if we all sing one song? And it felt so true and so revolutionary at the time. And apparently, at least from this vantage point, I've never really heard the song. And so I recalled the song after I came here during my tenure here at Unity of the Palm Beaches. And I asked Trish if we could, sing that song. And never has it felt more true. Never has the invitation been more practical and necessary. And can you imagine? Can you imagine a world that just imagine what tomorrow could be, could bring, could. So I always felt since the first time that I heard that song that, if you look at the word, this isn't new for probably any of you, but if you look at the word universe, one song, universe. And so there's always been something very, very musical about creation for me. And it's felt as if this primordial, in Sanskrit, we hear this a lot in spiritual communities. In Sanskrit, the word is Aum. In English, we tend to say Om, but it's actually, the word contains every vowel sound. And at the primordial level, there is something about that sound, that Aum, home that for me is the one song. It is the sound of creation itself. And initially, the sense I have is that as creation, though without beginning, without end, without time, without space, there was this one song, all of creation in unison. And then as this primordial sound, this experience of the one song began to emerge, this experience of duality. So remember that what we call God, what we call universe, is a realm of one. It is oneness beyond anything that there's no way to describe oneness. We have to kind of just let that sink down in, because we, in our humanity, in this realm of experience, we are beings of duality. And so this one song, this one primordial Om, began to extend out and into this mystery of time and space and duality. And my sense was that unison became harmony. And so there was a harmonious unfolding, and then unison and harmony began to take on, in and from duality, it became dissonance. And so life began to feel like an unresolved chord. You know that feeling? We have like a maestro, master of music here, David. And so that feeling of an unresolved chord, and there are composers who use that very masterfully, but there's something that happens in our body. If a song ends on an unresolved chord, it feels like, oh God, please bring it to resolution, right? And I think we're there. Dissonance has become cacophony, and there is a roaring that is taking place. We are in such a state of dissonance that though forever there remains one song, the harmonics that have become a dissonance, the dissonance, a perfect reflection of our divisiveness. We're fighting, our chords are not resolving. And so there is a constant tension, and life for me, it kind of feels like kind of like those grand, like a Wagner opera. You know, I remember when I first went to see opera, I was like, oh my God, these stories are so over the top, right? The big soprano is wailing away and some people are dying, and you look at our world right now, and it does feel like a grand, tragic opera with a lot of unresolved chords. So as we begin to have to face our own dissonance, our own divisiveness, as all of this has been brought to the surface, we are really seeing what has been barely beneath the surface. And I remind you of this week after week after week, because it's easy right now to get caught in the dissonance and to believe that the dissonance is some kind of a fixed reality that we have to run around and somehow fix out there, when in fact, the only remedy is coming back from this cacophonous state in consciousness, come back from dissonance, back into harmonics, and then back into unison. So that we come back into literally singing. There's one song, and we're invited to sing along. To sing along. Now, in our humanity and in duality, like, we don't all like the same kind of music, right? I was remembering this week, my father, bless his sweet precious heart. He's been gone a long time, but my father had the worst singing voice, I think, of anybody I ever heard. And the only time I ever heard my father sing was in church. So some of the church hymns, when I hear them, and I heard one this week, going back here in the background, and I could hear my father sing. So there are a real range of vocal techniques and vocal abilities, right? But somehow, though we may not agree on all the songs, what if we could at least agree to sing together for a greater good? What if we gave up our grip on personal preference for the sake of the greater good? What if, regardless of style of music, what if that became really a driving force in humanity? That we all took responsibility, that this current state of distraction and dissonance and drama, and that we all have a part to play in its resolution. That together. See, for me, at some level, we all made this mess. We all contributed in some way in consciousness to what's happening. And it's going to take all of us, field of consciousness by field of consciousness by field of consciousness, right? Song by song by song, to come back into a state where there's something greater. There's something greater than just me and what I want and my personal preferences. I feel supremely grateful. I learned at a relatively early age through my life circumstances that surely there must be something greater than me. And I remember, and this coincides directly with being led to Unity of New York, to the teachings of Eric Butterworth, and less so at that time to the Fillmore's teachings. Really, Eric Butterworth kind of had his own thing happening in New York. And so I really read his materials and listened to his lectures. And it was really, for me, largely about his teachings. But at the time that I came to Unity, and I've shared this with many of you, I didn't come to Unity because life worked. I didn't come to Unity because, oh my gosh, I'm just so comfortable and everything is going so well. Let me go to Unity, right? No, I got led to Unity when I was at my lowest point, when the life for me was the darkest. I was really suffering. And so I began to hear these ideas, and I was really open because I was in so much pain. I was having so much pain in my life, so much darkness in my life. And I began to hear these, what for me at the time were really radical ideas. As I say often, I grew up in this evangelical church, a completely different thought system. When I came to Unity, I began to hear a different promise. I began to hear of a different potential. I began to hear that there was a power that is within me. Now, this power is not of me. I want to be very clear about that. There is a power that is within me, but it is not of the personal self. It is not of the ego self. It is not of the persona. There is the power of the universe, which is individualized and seeks to know itself fully in all of creation, not just human beings. We are the ones that are blessed with self-reflective consciousness. So we get to choose very consciously, though it doesn't appear that way. We get to choose our experience of our experience. But this something greater is permeating all of creation. And one thing I know for sure, based on my own spirituality, is there is something far greater than what we are seeing evidence of right now. But it doesn't diminish the underlying potential that is in all of us. So I learned by coming to Unity that there is something greater than me. And I was so vulnerable and open at the time that I was really willing. I was very willing to see something greater, to have a something greater dynamic happen in my life, to begin to turn my life around. As I begin to hear of this power, capital P power, that I had access to. This was the power that was the force of my creation. I was created in and by that power, and I could use that power to turn my life around. But see, again, early on, I was really forced to take responsibility for the mess that I had made of my life. And as I began to learn of this one power, I remember having this realization, wait a minute, if the power of all creation, the power that we so often call God, is within me, if that is my source, and I have been granted access to this one power, and I can make a mess of every single area of my life. Nothing excluded. What could I do? What's possible if I began to use the same power, but rather than against myself, if I began to use it for myself? And that recognition began to change my life. And so I'm grateful that though I implement it, access it, use it imperfectly, I am certain that there is a power greater. There is something greater that is always animating life, that is always directing me, that is always orchestrating my experiences when I choose to sing along. And so, regardless now of circumstances that may seem like, why, why is this happening? Look at this. I don't get trapped into thinking that there's not something greater than the current appearances of life. I always have that sense that this has come to pass. This has come to pass. And the times that we are living in, wow, huh? It is so, so easy to think, my God, right? What are we doing? How have we made such a mess of things, right? And then, not only have we made a mess of things collectively, but then largely we are not willing to allow our individual experience to be about something greater than just me, than just my preferences, my demands, look at what's happening. It's amazing to me. This is a study in ego identification, right? It's remarkable. Now, love me or not, because that's clearly the choice, but y'all hired me. Go figure. Let's just take for a moment the little issue of the mask, shall we? The issue of the mask. What if there was one chance in 1,000 that by wearing a mask, one less person might become infected? What if that one less person could be you? Do you think you might be willing? Let me tell you, my beloveds, I don't like wearing a mask. It fogs my glasses. I can't breathe. I don't like it. But there's something greater than my not liking to wear a mask, right? And so as we've watched that battle, as we've watched how that can become an absolute war that we say is in the name of freedom. And maybe for you, that's the way you view freedom. But see, my freedom is bigger than just me. There's something bigger than my individual freedom. And life has taught me that. My spirituality is about something bigger than just me. My spirituality, thank God, intentional language, is about the greater good. As I sit and as I engage my meditation and my prayer practice, I dedicate my meditation time to the good of all beings daily on behalf of all. You know when I really love that is when I don't feel like doing it. I don't feel like meditating today. On behalf of all, because I know, and I know that meditation has a beneficial effect within the unified field. Some of that dissonance, even if it's so minuscule, we don't even see any evidence. Every time I choose to sit and to meditate, some dissonance becomes harmonic. Every prayer affects the field. Every single prayer. By you choosing to be here today, to turn on your computer, to sit with me, to listen to me, to feel it happening in your body, to listen to these ideas, to consider the possibility that there is a power within you that transforms this world. And it is strengthened as we choose to join together. So, individual field of consciousness by individual field of consciousness by individual field of consciousness. Sing along with me. Sing one song for the greater good of all beings. For the good of all beings. Do you think maybe it's time? Do you think maybe we could allow something greater than our own identification with our ideology? Huh? Do you think maybe there's something bigger than what political party you choose to register with and identify with and go to war over? Is there something bigger, something greater? Because let me tell you, my spirituality is only as good as how I treat other people, whether I agree with them or not. That's because see, just candidly, like I don't love this aspect of spirituality. I don't like it. And the same power that is in me is in everyone. And when I take one person out of that, I cannot know the one. You cannot exclude one person and know the one. You may not like what they're singing or how they sing. You may not like they're off key. Can you hear a lot of people are singing off key? Huh? Sharp, flat. Whoa. And there's one song. And the something greater becomes greater as we engage it, as we actualize it, as we realize it together. It takes all of us, all of us. And that's what the world is showing us. A world that works for all. Not a world that works for some, a world that works for all. And so there is in our daily word, right? I begin. Now is the time. The affirmation I'm gonna, y'all know I do this. So I find my power in this very moment. Well, I find the power. It's not my power. As much as sometimes I can slip into the delusion of thinking that I'm running the world, we'd all be in trouble. Just trust me. I don't need to tell most of you that. But I find one power in this very moment. Now is the time to begin, to serve, to forgive, to create, to love. Now, as the scripture tells us, now is the acceptable time. See? It's right there. Now is the day of salvation. Well, salvation is singing one song. It's aligning in a power greater, in the something greater, and allowing it to run the show. Are you open to it? Are you open to the possibility? Are you willing to see things from a different perspective? Are you willing to stop, take a breath, really relax your hiney? Are you willing to stop posting those nasty posts? Because it ain't helping things. It's not helping. Are you willing to allow the something greater to govern you, to govern your experience, moment by moment by moment? Salvation can only be now. Now. How am I showing up in now? There's something greater. There's something greater, kids. It's not me, but it's in me. I have access to it, and I'm going to use it moment by moment by moment. And I'm going to make mistakes, and I'm going to slip up, and I'm going to come back into alignment with the something greater on behalf of all. Sing one song with me. Together, we can transform this world. And so it is. Amen.
Thank you, Reverend Taylor. We trust that you've been spiritually fed by our gathering this morning. Though we continue to be socially distanced, we remain committed to providing you with a full roster of virtual activities until we are able to gather again at our Temple Israel home. Please see our website or check out the Conscious Connection to find out all that's happening. We remind you weekly that though we are not physically together, our expenses remain fixed. We rely on the contributions of our spirit family in order to sustain our unity home. So I invite you to activate our 4th and 5th unity principles, namely praying the law and taking inspired action. Feel your love and appreciation for what we co-create together as a felt sense prayer, and then take inspired action by donating on our website or by using any one of our technical instruments to materialize your prayer. You're also welcome to send a check to our office. Your support is indeed appreciated. Please join me in reciting the prayer for protection. The light of God surrounds me. I am the light of God. The love of God enfolds me. I am the love of God. The power of God protects me. I am the power of God. The presence of God watches over me. I am the presence of God. Wherever God is, I am, and all is well. And now David and Trish will lead us in Let There Be Peace on Earth.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be, with God as creator. Family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment in peace eternally. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Have a great week. See you next Sunday.